Madeleine McGraw, coming back to the Black Phone 2, how did you mentally and emotionally prepare for revisiting that character, especially after having grown up since the original?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more of a challenge this time around, especially since Gwen has grown up and so have I, obviously. But both grown up in such different ways. I feel like it was really interesting to take on the challenge of portraying how the trauma has sort of shaped Gwen and especially Finney. And it's very interesting to see how they sort of are trying to grow from it, but also how they can't really escape it. I mean, playing Gwen this time around, she's so drastically different from the first one. So I felt like it was definitely more of a challenge trying to find her again. I had a lot of conversations with Scott ahead of filming, but also during filming. I mean, there were moments when I was just like, Scott, I need to talk about this scene. Like I need to like I'm kind of nervous, you know. And so especially having a director like Scott is so amazing. I mean, I feel like we have so much trust and honesty with each other that like it's nice because I am so comfortable enough to the fact where I can literally just like go to him for anything and if I'm nervous about a certain scene. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge taking on, especially all the emotional scenes this time around. I feel like this movie truly did. I say it all the time, but it really did put my acting abilities to the test.
Look, I can imagine even the most seasoned, experienced actor with 30 years experience would have found this role really challenging. I really commend you, Madeline, for really going there. Like I think you do a lot of the emotional heavy lifting. There are moments where Gwen's just coming apart. You know, she's caught between anguish and despair and real terror. So when you're in those scenes, what's going through your head as an actor? Like, how do you actually get there?
Well, I am a big believer in like truly becoming your character. Like when I'm on set and as soon as Scott says action, I am Gwen. Like I really do just become my character when filming. And so I feel like the best thing that you can do in those moments is just to be present and live in the moment and be in the moment. And I mean, like, I really did take myself to such a dark place for majority of this film. And I mean, I feel like with the things that Gwen sees, that kind of made it easier to get to that dark sort of headspace because it is so horribly graphic what she's seeing. So I feel like it was definitely very immersive, which helped a lot. Um, but I mean, I've also never had the experience before of not being able to shake like a scene like that, like an emotional scene like that. I'm usually so like happy-go-lucky after scenes, and I'm able to usually turn it off like that. But that was different for me. I couldn't shake it for like 2 to 3 days after. It was intimidating. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. And then I mean, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the film, probably go and watch it and come back. But
Yeah.
getting thrown around a room by an invisible grabber, twisting through the air like a pinwheel, that's wild. What does a day like that look like on set? Because your body is literally flying through the air.
Yeah, a lot of rehearsing, a lot of rehearsing. We had, I had stunt training like weeks before actual filming, like during pre-production. I had so much stunt training. And then, like, on when we would do those scenes the day on set, I would get there earlier and we would do more stunt training and more stunt rehearsing. Things like that are so precise. And I mean, like, it's hard when you're acting with someone that's not really supposed to be there. I mean, like, I was acting with someone in a green suit for a lot of that scene. So that was definitely challenging. But I mean, Bronco, our stunt coordinator, and Scott, we had so many conversations about what it was supposed to look like. And I mean, everything, it's just really precise. But I feel like the challenge is not making it look rehearsed. And I feel like when you actually go into like portraying those scenes on camera, you kind of, when you are in the moment, things kind of just like happen. Like you can't control it to that much of an extent. I feel like you do kind of have to be kind of free in that sense, especially because it is so like aggressive. I don't know.
Yeah. I did not see that coming, you know, and when this was my face throughout half the movie. And
That
it
was my
was, I
reaction
mean,
when reading the script.
yeah, I can imagine. But you know what? The Black Phone was so wonderful as a great horror film in the genre. The Black Phone 2, I think, really elevates the art. And I want to talk about that for a second. You mentioned Scott Derrickson, he's such a wonderful filmmaker. He really
Hmm.
swings for the fences here. This is risky filmmaking. There's a lot of dream sequences, it's grainy, it's abstract. What do you think of what he's doing artistically with the film, and what most excited you about that?
Definitely the Super 8 aspect of
Oh,
things. I mean, like the way he includes film in cinema is so unexpected. Like people don't ever do that. And just getting to see it on screen was so beautiful and it came out, I mean, it is a risky thing to use film when it comes to making a movie because there were most of my emotional scenes were shot in Super 8. And so when they would send it back to LA to get developed, I would just pray that it turned out good and that the film was actually, processed well. And so I mean like that is truly so risky and I like am so truly impressed by him more and more every day. I mean, I don't know how he does it. The stress level was probably insane. So just props to him. I'm like, I admire him more and more every day.
I can only imagine, and I really loved that. I loved being terrified in the cinema, but I also really appreciate when a filmmaker and a cast and crew go for something a little different and a little risky, and when it pays off. What do you hope for audiences to take out of the Black Phone 2 that they may not have taken out of the first one?
Um, I would say probably the fact that there are so many layers to the
Yeah.
second movie and like how each character does have an arc. Like every character has their moment. And I feel like that's so hard to do in a movie, especially with every character. But I mean, like, you really do. You get so attached to each character on screen. I was watching the movie with my sister at an early screening, and she was like, "Please tell me so and so doesn't die. Like, please, please, Maddie. Like, I'm not gonna like it if they die. I'm not gonna watch." And so just the fact, like, with these new characters, especially getting people that are so like they're such true fans to the first one, but like making them feel so instantly attached to these characters in the second one is so important. I feel like that's such an incredible thing to do. So yeah, probably just like it's an emotional roller coaster, it really is, and I hope people feel every bit of it.
You're so right. When a character comes on, I'm always thinking, they're up to no good. I think they're probably they're the secret villain, and they're not. Because that would just be such a cliche. And then, like, for example, a fringe character like Mustang, like, she's gonna die soon, isn't she? And she didn't. So I mean,
I
I
know
was very
exactly
happy.
unexpected things, and that's what I love about horror, and especially about working with Scott and Cargill, is that they're not afraid to go outside the box. I truly admire them for it. People are scared.
Totally. Yeah, and yet, I was still really terrified. I was with my wife, and she was watching the movie like this for most of the time as well. So I
That's
mean,
awesome. That's
that's
like
a
me.
job well done, right?
Yeah, that is that
Yeah,
is that is how you know we did our job. Good.
yeah. Absolutely. We've talked about being thrown through the air and spinning like a pinwheel. There's a. I want to talk about what you think your most challenging scene was. I would have thought it's the first breakdown that Gwen has in the cabin, where you really just cry so viscerally for a good few minutes. And it really, really works. What do you think?
Thank you. I was definitely really scared for that scene. I was like, I had knots in my stomach going into that. But for me, I mean, any of the emotional scenes were truly challenging, especially that one. But I feel like for me, the one that was most challenging was the one, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just going to say, like, where she sees something very disturbing. You know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
For me, that was the most challenging because it was really challenging to see that, like on set, especially because I like really do get so into character when I'm acting. And so I feel like that really just like hit me like a tidal wave. And I didn't really expect it to take me to such a dark place. But I do think it worked so well on camera. And I'm so glad that it turned out the way it did. I'm very, very proud of my work in this movie because I was very nervous and I put a lot of pressure on myself when it came to doing these scenes. Um, and also, I had never experienced anything like that where took myself to such a dark place that it actually stayed with me. after like filming. Like I was so sad the next 2 days, and that's never happened to me before. So, yeah, probably that scene.
Yeah, look, I don't blame you. And just to reiterate, you did a beautiful job in this film. You should be super
Thank you
proud. And
so
thank you
much.
for your time
Thank you
today.
so much. Thank you for chatting with me, truly. Thank you.